Introduction: Master Your Mindset. How to Get What You Truly Deserve is a powerful guide to reshaping thought patterns, fostering resilience, and unlocking one's full potential by mastering the mind. The book highlights that mindset is the foundation of success and that individuals who cultivate a positive, growth-oriented mindset are more likely to achieve their goals, overcome challenges, and live fulfilling lives. It argues that many people are trapped by limiting beliefs, self-doubt, and negative thought cycles that hinder progress and keep them from realizing their true potential. Through a combination of psychology, neuroscience, and practical exercises, the book provides readers with the tools necessary to shift their mental frameworks from scarcity to abundance, from fear to confidence, and from hesitation to decisive action. The introduction sets the stage by explaining that the mind is the most powerful tool a person possesses and that learning how to control thoughts, emotions, and reactions can lead to profound personal transformation. It delves into how successful individuals, whether in business, sports, or personal life, leverage the power of mindset to push past obstacles and achieve greatness. Furthermore, it challenges readers to examine their current thought patterns and identify self-sabotaging habits that may be preventing them from reaching their aspirations. The book presents the idea that external circumstances are not as influential as one's internal responses, emphasizing that a person's ability to interpret and react to situations determines their overall success and happiness. It introduces key psychological concepts such as neuroplasticity, which suggests that the brain can be rewired through intentional practice and repetition, allowing individuals to break free from negative thought loops and adopt more empowering beliefs. By setting the foundation for a mindset shift, the introduction encourages readers to take full responsibility for their lives, stop blaming external factors for their circumstances, and embrace the fact that their future is shaped by the thoughts they nurture daily. The book provides a compelling case for why mindset is not just a buzzword but a crucial determinant of one's achievements and life satisfaction. Throughout the introduction, readers are invited to reflect on their deepest desires, question their limiting beliefs, and commit to the journey of mental mastery. It explains that self-discipline, perseverance, and a clear vision of one's goals are essential components of a strong mindset. The introduction also highlights the importance of emotional intelligence, explaining that managing emotions effectively allows people to make better decisions, maintain healthier relationships, and stay motivated even when faced with adversity. Furthermore, it emphasizes the role of habits in shaping mindset, suggesting that small, consistent changes in daily routines can lead to significant transformations over time. By focusing on self-awareness, intentionality, and the power of perspective, the book encourages readers to cultivate an inner dialogue that supports rather than hinders their ambitions. It sets the stage for the rest of the book by reinforcing the idea that mastering one's mindset is not an overnight process but a lifelong commitment that requires patience, practice, and persistence. Ultimately, the introduction serves as a motivational call to action, urging readers to embark on the journey of self-improvement, unlock their potential, and create the life they truly deserve by mastering their mindset. Chapter 1. Developing a Growth Mindset. How to Get What You Truly Deserve focuses on developing a growth mindset, which is the foundation of personal and professional success. A growth mindset, a concept popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck, is the belief that intelligence, talents, and abilities are not fixed traits but can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. This chapter explains that people with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities are predetermined and unchangeable, which often leads to fear of failure, avoidance of challenges, and resistance to feedback. On the other hand, individuals with a growth mindset view challenges as opportunities to learn, embrace failures as stepping stones to improvement, and actively seek constructive criticism to refine their skills. The chapter highlights the importance of self-awareness in identifying and overcoming limiting beliefs that stem from past experiences, societal conditioning, or fear of judgment. It introduces practical strategies to shift from a fixed to a growth-oriented perspective, emphasizing that success is not about innate talent but about the willingness to put in continuous effort and remain resilient in the face of setbacks. One key takeaway is that failure is not an indication of incompetence but a necessary part of the learning process, and those who reframe failure as a learning opportunity develop greater persistence and adaptability. The chapter also discusses the role of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself in response to new experiences, suggesting that adopting a growth mindset is possible for anyone willing to put in the effort to change their thinking patterns. Another essential aspect explored is the power of positive self-talk and internal dialogue, which can either empower or limit a person's potential. By replacing self-defeating thoughts with encouraging affirmations and focusing on progress rather than perfection, individuals can build confidence and motivation. The chapter also highlights the importance of surrounding oneself with like-minded, growth-oriented individuals who inspire and challenge personal development rather than reinforce negative or limiting beliefs. It encourages readers to step out of their comfort zones regularly, as growth occurs when people push themselves beyond familiar boundaries and take on new challenges. Additionally, the role of effort, deliberate practice, and perseverance is emphasized as essential elements of mastery in any field. It explains that those who adopt a growth mindset do not rely on natural ability alone but engage in continuous learning, seek out new knowledge, and refine their skills over time. The chapter also touches on the significance of curiosity and the willingness to ask questions, as an inquisitive attitude fosters deeper understanding and encourages lifelong learning. Another crucial point discussed is the difference between a problem-focused and solution-focused mindset. Those with a growth mindset approach problems with the belief that solutions exist and that they have the capacity to find or create them. This perspective leads to greater creativity, innovation, and problem-solving abilities, which are critical for both personal and professional success. The chapter also explores the role of resilience in maintaining a growth mindset, explaining that setbacks and obstacles are inevitable but that how a person responds to them determines their future progress. It provides practical tips on building resilience, such as practicing gratitude, maintaining perspective, and focusing on long-term goals rather than short-term difficulties. Furthermore, it highlights the value of constructive feedback and how those with a growth mindset actively seek out advice, mentorship, and learning opportunities rather than viewing feedback as criticism or a personal attack. The chapter also delves into the impact of mindset on relationships, showing that people with a growth-oriented perspective are more likely to build strong, meaningful connections because they are open to learning from others, admit their mistakes, and continuously strive for personal improvement. Another key aspect covered is how a growth mindset contributes to emotional intelligence, helping individuals manage stress, regulate emotions, and maintain a positive outlook even in challenging situations. The chapter reinforces that embracing discomfort and pushing past self-imposed limitations leads to personal transformation and long-term success. It explains that developing a growth mindset requires commitment, patience, and a willingness to challenge deeply ingrained thought patterns, but that the rewards, greater confidence, resilience, adaptability, and fulfillment, make the effort worthwhile. Lastly, the chapter encourages readers to take immediate action by identifying areas where they may have a fixed mindset and implementing small, consistent changes to shift toward a growth-oriented approach. Through a combination of self-reflection, intentional practice, and perseverance, anyone can cultivate a mindset that fosters continuous growth, unlocks potential, and ultimately leads to greater achievement and satisfaction in all areas of life. Chapter 2. Mastering Personal Thoughts. How to Get What You Truly Deserve focuses on the crucial skill of mastering personal thoughts, emphasizing that our inner dialogue and thought patterns shape our reality, emotions, behaviors, and ultimately our success in life. The chapter begins by explaining the profound influence of thoughts on actions, showing that positive, constructive thinking leads to productive behavior, while negative, self-defeating thoughts can create cycles of doubt, fear, and inaction. It introduces the idea that most people operate on autopilot, allowing subconscious thought patterns, many of which are shaped by past experiences, societal influences, and limiting beliefs, to dictate their decisions and self-perception. The chapter stresses the importance of becoming aware of one's thoughts and recognizing the internal narrative that plays in the mind daily, as awareness is the first step toward change. It explains that mastering personal thoughts requires the ability to identify and challenge cognitive distortions, such as all-or-nothing thinking, overgeneralization, catastrophizing, and self-doubt, which can limit potential and create unnecessary stress. By understanding these distortions, individuals can begin to replace them with rational, empowering thoughts that support growth and confidence. The chapter introduces practical techniques such as mindfulness and self-reflection, which help individuals become more conscious of their thought processes and develop greater control over their mental states. One of the key strategies discussed is cognitive reframing, which involves shifting one's perspective on challenges and setbacks, transforming obstacles into opportunities for growth rather than barriers to success. The chapter provides examples of successful individuals who have mastered their thoughts, illustrating how they overcame adversity by consciously choosing to maintain a positive and solution-focused mindset. It delves into the science of neuroplasticity, explaining that repeated thoughts strengthen neural pathways, meaning that with consistent effort, individuals can rewire their brains to adopt more constructive thinking habits. Another critical aspect covered is the impact of self-talk on self-esteem and motivation. Negative self-talk can be debilitating, leading to procrastination, fear, and self-sabotage, while positive self-talk fosters confidence, resilience, and action. The chapter encourages readers to develop affirmations and intentional thought patterns that reinforce their goals and aspirations. It also explores the role of emotions in thought management, explaining that thoughts and feelings are interconnected, and that by changing thought patterns, one can regulate emotional responses and maintain a balanced, composed mindset even in stressful situations. Another key point discussed is the importance of filtering external influences, as the information we consume, from news, social media, and even conversations with others, can shape our thoughts and either empower or drain us mentally. The chapter advises readers to be selective about the content they engage with and to surround themselves with positive influences that support their mental well-being. It also highlights the value of journaling as a tool for tracking thoughts, identifying patterns, and gaining clarity on inner struggles, enabling individuals to challenge limiting beliefs and reframe their perspectives. Additionally, the chapter explores the connection between thoughts and physical well-being, demonstrating how stress caused by negative thinking can manifest in physical symptoms such as fatigue, headaches, and weakened immunity, reinforcing the importance of mental discipline for overall health. The chapter provides actionable steps for breaking free from negative thought cycles, including practicing gratitude, engaging in meditation, and implementing daily reflection exercises to replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. It emphasizes the power of visualization, encouraging readers to vividly imagine their success and future achievements as a way to align their thoughts with their goals. The chapter also introduces the concept of thought auditing, where individuals examine their mental patterns throughout the day and consciously redirect negative or unproductive thoughts toward more constructive alternatives. Another vital component discussed is emotional intelligence, particularly the ability to recognize and regulate emotions triggered by certain thoughts, helping individuals respond to situations with clarity and confidence rather than react impulsively based on fear or doubt. The chapter illustrates how mental discipline contributes to decision-making, enabling individuals to think rationally and make choices that align with their long-term objectives rather than succumbing to temporary emotions or distractions. It also discusses the law of attraction and the idea that thoughts have the power to shape reality, reinforcing the need to focus on what one wants to achieve rather than on fears or limitations. The chapter highlights the significance of consistency, explaining that mastering personal thoughts is not a one-time effort but a lifelong practice that requires ongoing self-awareness and intentional action. By taking control of their thoughts, individuals can cultivate a mindset that supports their aspirations, builds resilience against challenges, and creates a sense of inner peace and fulfillment. The chapter concludes by encouraging readers to take ownership of their mental habits, recognize the power they have over their thoughts, and commit to practicing mindfulness, positive affirmations, and intentional thinking daily. By mastering personal thoughts, individuals can break free from self-imposed limitations, unlock their potential, and create a reality that aligns with their goals, values, and highest aspirations. Chapter 3. Finding One's Purpose. How to Get What You Truly Deserve delves into the transformative journey of finding one's purpose, emphasizing that purpose is the driving force behind motivation, fulfillment, and long-term success in life. The chapter begins by explaining that many people go through life feeling lost, uninspired, or stuck in routines that lack meaning, largely because they have not taken the time to identify their true passions, values, and aspirations. It highlights that purpose is not something external that needs to be found but rather something that is uncovered from within through self-reflection, exploration, and intentional action. The chapter discusses the difference between living by default, simply reacting to circumstances, and living by design, where one actively shapes their life based on a deep understanding of what truly matters to them. It explains that purpose gives people a reason to wake up each day with enthusiasm, guiding their decisions, actions, and priorities in a way that aligns with their authentic selves. One of the core ideas presented is that purpose is not necessarily tied to a single career, role, or achievement but is instead a continuous process of growth and contribution that evolves over time. The chapter encourages readers to reflect on their unique strengths, talents, and passions, as these elements often provide clues to what they are meant to do. It explores the importance of self-discovery exercises such as journaling, meditation, and deep introspection, which help individuals uncover what brings them joy, fulfillment, and a sense of meaning. The chapter also introduces the concept of ikigai, a Japanese philosophy that translates to reason for being, which involves finding the intersection between what one loves, what they are good at, what the world needs, and what they can be compensated for. By analyzing these four elements, individuals can gain clarity on how to align their passions with a sense of contribution and sustainability. Another key point covered is the role of service and impact in discovering purpose, as people often feel the most fulfilled when their actions positively affect others, whether through their work, relationships, or community involvement. The chapter highlights that purpose is not solely about personal success but also about making a meaningful difference in the lives of others, reinforcing the idea that fulfillment comes from contribution. It challenges readers to ask themselves thought-provoking questions such as, what would I do if I had no fear of failure? And how do I want to be remembered? To help uncover their deeper motivations. Additionally, it addresses the fear and self-doubt that often accompany the search for purpose, reassuring readers that uncertainty is a natural part of the journey and that clarity comes through action, experimentation, and perseverance rather than waiting for a perfect moment of revelation. The chapter also emphasizes the importance of setting long-term vision statements and short-term goals that align with one's purpose, creating a roadmap that turns aspirations into actionable steps. It discusses the impact of environment and social circles, explaining that surrounding oneself with like-minded, purpose-driven individuals can provide inspiration, support, and accountability on the journey toward self-actualization. Another critical aspect explored is resilience, the ability to stay committed to one's purpose despite setbacks, challenges, and failures, demonstrating that those who achieve great things are not necessarily the most talented but the ones who persist with unwavering dedication. The chapter provides real-life examples of successful individuals who found their purpose through trial and error, adversity, or unexpected opportunities, reinforcing the idea that purpose is discovered through lived experiences rather than passive contemplation. It also discusses the dangers of comparison and societal expectations, cautioning against the tendency to measure personal purpose against external standards of success, such as wealth, status, or validation from others. Instead, it encourages readers to trust their intuition, follow their passions authentically, and pursue a path that aligns with their values and vision for life. The chapter also introduces mindfulness techniques that help individuals stay present and connected to their purpose, such as gratitude practices, visualization exercises, and affirmations that reinforce their commitment to their goals. Furthermore, it highlights the importance of adaptability, as purpose is not static but rather fluid and evolving, meaning that individuals should remain open to new opportunities, challenges, and experiences that may refine or reshape their sense of direction. The chapter encourages readers to embrace discomfort, step outside their comfort zones, and take bold actions that push them closer to discovering and fulfilling their purpose. It discusses the link between passion and discipline, explaining that while passion provides the spark, discipline and consistency are what sustain long-term success and fulfillment. Another significant concept explored is the importance of integrating purpose into daily life, rather than seeing it as a distant goal, by making intentional choices that align with one's values and aspirations in both small and big ways. It explains that even mundane tasks or challenges can take on new meaning when they are seen as stepping stones toward a greater mission. The chapter concludes by reinforcing that finding one's purpose is a journey rather than a destination, requiring patience, courage, and self-trust. By taking proactive steps to explore, reflect, and act in alignment with their passions and values, individuals can cultivate a deep sense of fulfillment, direction, and lasting success in all areas of life. Chapter 4. Disciplining the Mind. How to Get What You Truly Deserve focuses on the crucial concept of disciplining the mind, emphasizing that mental discipline is the foundation of success, resilience, and personal growth. The chapter begins by highlighting how the mind, when left unchecked, can become a source of distraction, negativity, and self-doubt, ultimately preventing individuals from achieving their goals and reaching their full potential. It explains that disciplining the mind requires conscious effort, self-awareness, and consistent practice to take control of one's thoughts, emotions, and reactions. The chapter discusses the importance of self-control, illustrating how successful individuals are not necessarily the most talented or intelligent but the ones who have mastered their ability to focus, resist distractions, and persevere through challenges. It explores the idea that mental discipline is like a muscle. It strengthens with consistent training and weakens with neglect. One of the key themes in this chapter is the power of habits in shaping mental discipline, explaining that small, repeated actions determine long-term success and that individuals must be intentional about cultivating habits that reinforce focus, resilience, and emotional control. It introduces techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, and visualization, which help individuals develop greater awareness of their thoughts and emotions, allowing them to respond to situations with clarity rather than react impulsively. The chapter also delves into the science behind willpower, referencing psychological studies that demonstrate how self-control is a limited resource but can be strengthened through practice, just like a muscle. It encourages readers to identify their biggest distractions and weaknesses, whether it be procrastination, negative self-talk, or fear-based thinking, and develop strategies to overcome them by setting clear boundaries, creating structured routines, and maintaining a disciplined mindset. Another significant point discussed is the impact of external influences on mental discipline, highlighting that the people we surround ourselves with, the information we consume, and the environments we immerse ourselves in all play a role in shaping our mental resilience. It advises readers to be selective about their surroundings, engage with positive influences, and limit exposure to negativity or toxic energy that can drain mental strength. The chapter also discusses the importance of emotional regulation, explaining that mental discipline is not about suppressing emotions but about learning to manage them effectively, ensuring that decisions are driven by logic and long-term goals rather than temporary feelings. It introduces practical strategies such as cognitive reframing, which helps individuals shift their perspectives on setbacks and failures, viewing them as learning opportunities rather than obstacles. The chapter also emphasizes the importance of goal setting and accountability in maintaining mental discipline, suggesting that individuals create clear, measurable goals and establish systems to track progress, stay motivated, and hold themselves accountable. Another critical aspect covered is the role of delayed gratification, explaining that those who practice patience and are willing to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gains are more likely to achieve lasting success. The chapter presents the famous marshmallow test as an example, showing how children who demonstrated self-control and delayed gratification were more successful later in life, reinforcing the idea that mental discipline is a key predictor of success. It also discusses the dangers of instant gratification culture, where people are conditioned to seek immediate pleasure, leading to habits such as excessive social media use, impulsive decision-making, and a lack of focus on long-term objectives. The chapter encourages readers to cultivate patience and adopt a long-term perspective, focusing on meaningful progress rather than seeking quick fixes or shortcuts. Another significant topic explored is resilience and the ability to stay disciplined in the face of adversity, demonstrating that those who develop mental toughness are better equipped to handle setbacks, failures, and unexpected challenges without losing motivation or giving up on their goals. It explains that mental discipline involves training the mind to push forward even when circumstances are difficult, maintaining a strong sense of determination, and refusing to be swayed by temporary setbacks. The chapter also highlights the importance of self-discipline in managing time effectively, suggesting that individuals set priorities, eliminate unnecessary distractions, and create structured schedules that align with their goals. It introduces techniques such as the Pomodoro technique and time blocking, which help individuals maintain focus and productivity without feeling overwhelmed. Additionally, it touches on the role of physical well-being in mental discipline, explaining that factors such as sleep, nutrition, and exercise directly impact cognitive function, emotional stability, and self-control, reinforcing the need for a holistic approach to mental resilience. The chapter also explores the connection between self-talk and discipline, showing that individuals who cultivate a strong inner dialogue of encouragement, motivation, and focus are more likely to stay committed to their goals, while those who engage in negative self-talk often struggle with self-doubt and inconsistency. It suggests replacing self-defeating thoughts with affirmations and positive reinforcements to maintain a strong and disciplined mindset. Another crucial aspect discussed is the importance of developing a strong why behind one's goals, as a compelling reason for action fuels motivation and helps sustain discipline during difficult times. The chapter provides examples of individuals who achieved extraordinary success by maintaining unwavering focus and discipline despite challenges, illustrating how mental resilience separates high achievers from those who give up too soon. It also discusses the significance of adaptability, showing that disciplined individuals are not rigid but rather flexible in their approach, adjusting their strategies as needed while staying committed to their long-term vision. The chapter concludes by reinforcing that mental discipline is a lifelong practice that requires dedication, consistency, and self-awareness, urging readers to take responsibility for their thoughts, actions, and habits to create the life they desire. By mastering mental discipline, individuals can overcome procrastination, build resilience, enhance productivity, and ultimately achieve their goals with a sense of purpose, focus, and determination. Chapter 5. Making Better Decisions. How to Get What You Truly Deserve delves into the art of making better decisions, emphasizing that the quality of the decisions we make directly impacts the trajectory of our lives, success, and happiness. The chapter begins by asserting that decision-making is one of the most powerful skills anyone can develop, as every choice, no matter how small, can either propel us toward our goals or derail our progress. It highlights the fact that many people struggle with decision-making due to fear of making the wrong choice, indecision, or a tendency to rely on impulse rather than thoughtful reflection. The chapter emphasizes the importance of developing the ability to make decisions with clarity, confidence, and a long-term perspective. It introduces the concept of intentional decision-making, where individuals consciously evaluate their options based on their values, goals, and desired outcomes, rather than reacting to circumstances or external pressures. One of the key ideas explored is the role of emotional intelligence in decision-making, explaining that emotions often play a powerful role in how we perceive choices and their potential consequences. However, the chapter stresses that emotional reactions should not dictate decisions. Instead, emotional intelligence allows us to recognize and manage our emotions, ensuring they do not cloud our judgment or lead to impulsive choices. It encourages readers to develop greater self-awareness by reflecting on their emotional triggers and learning to distinguish between instinctive reactions and rational thought. The chapter also delves into the concept of cognitive biases, which are systematic errors in thinking that can distort our judgment and decision-making. Examples of common cognitive biases include confirmation bias, where we favor information that supports our existing beliefs, anchoring bias, where we rely too heavily on the first piece of information encountered, and availability bias, where we make decisions based on readily available information rather than a broader view. The chapter provides strategies for overcoming these biases, such as seeking diverse perspectives, gathering comprehensive data, and being open to challenging one's assumptions. Another critical concept discussed is the importance of considering both short-term and long-term consequences when making decisions. It encourages readers to avoid the trap of short-term gratification or instant results and instead think about how their decisions will affect their long-term goals, personal growth, and overall well-being. The chapter introduces the idea of creating a decision-making framework, an intentional process that includes defining the problem, identifying possible solutions, evaluating potential outcomes, and reflecting on how each option aligns with one's values and long-term vision. It also emphasizes the significance of setting clear priorities in life, as making decisions becomes easier when one has a clear understanding of what is most important. With defined priorities, individuals can evaluate options more effectively and make choices that support their overall life goals. The chapter further explores the concept of decision fatigue, explaining that making numerous decisions throughout the day can lead to mental exhaustion and poorer judgment. To counteract this, it suggests techniques such as simplifying choices, creating routines, and learning to delegate less important decisions to reduce the mental load. Another essential element covered is the role of intuition in decision-making, with the chapter highlighting that gut feelings and instincts can sometimes offer valuable insights. However, it stresses that intuition should be balanced with rational thinking, and that decisions should not be made solely on emotional impulses but through a combination of instinct, logic, and reflective thinking. The chapter also addresses the fear of failure and how it can paralyze decision-making. It reassures readers that making mistakes is a natural part of life and that learning from failure is often more valuable than never making a decision at all. But reframing failure as a stepping stone to growth rather than a negative outcome, individuals are encouraged to take bold action without being hindered by the fear of making the wrong choice. The chapter provides examples of successful people who made difficult decisions despite uncertainty, illustrating that the most impactful decisions often require taking risks and stepping outside of one's comfort zone. Another important aspect discussed is the significance of decisiveness. The chapter argues that being able to make decisions quickly and confidently, without overthinking or second-guessing, is a sign of mental strength and clarity. It suggests that procrastination in decision-making often stems from a lack of confidence or fear of the unknown, and that practicing decisiveness in smaller, less important choices can build confidence for larger, more impactful decisions. It also encourages readers to avoid the trap of seeking perfection in every decision, as no decision is ever flawless, and sometimes taking action, even imperfect action, is better than remaining stuck in indecision. The chapter also emphasizes the need to trust one's own judgment and avoid over-relying on the opinions of others, especially when those opinions are based on personal biases or external pressures. While input from trusted advisors can be valuable, Ultimately, individuals must trust their inner wisdom and make decisions that align with their unique path. The chapter concludes by reinforcing the idea that decision-making is a skill that can be honed with practice and self-awareness. By developing a decision-making process that includes emotional intelligence, self-reflection, rational analysis, and intuition, individuals can make better, more aligned choices that lead to greater fulfillment and success. It challenges readers to take full responsibility for their decisions, understanding that the power to shape their future lies in the choices they make today. Through intentional, mindful decision-making, individuals can create a life that reflects their true desires, values, and goals. Chapter 6. Achieving Deserved Outcome. How to Get What You Truly Deserve focuses on the critical concept of achieving the outcomes that we truly deserve, exploring the principles, actions, and mindset required to turn aspirations into tangible results. The chapter begins by emphasizing that everyone deserves success, fulfillment, and happiness, but achieving these outcomes is not about luck or external circumstances. It is the result of a mindset that is aligned with intentional action, perseverance, and a clear understanding of one's goals. It explains that achieving deserved outcomes starts with recognizing that we are worthy of success and that our beliefs about ourselves often influence the actions we take and the results we experience. One of the key ideas discussed is the importance of setting clear and actionable goals. The chapter argues that without specific goals, people often drift through life, reacting to external circumstances rather than creating the life they want. It encourages readers to define their goals in a detailed, measurable, and time-bound manner, providing a roadmap for success. By breaking down larger goals into smaller, achievable steps, individuals can maintain focus, build momentum, and stay motivated as they make consistent progress toward their desired outcomes. The chapter also addresses the concept of aligning one's goals with their core values and purpose. It stresses that true fulfillment comes when people pursue goals that are meaningful to them, not goals imposed by societal expectations or external pressures. When goals are in alignment with personal values and purpose, the path to achievement feels more authentic, and individuals are more likely to remain committed and resilient in the face of challenges. The chapter introduces the idea that achieving desired outcomes requires a combination of both hard work and smart strategies. It suggests that while effort and determination are essential, achieving success also requires working in a way that is both efficient and strategic. This means prioritizing actions that move the needle toward one's goals, eliminating time wasters, and seeking opportunities to work smarter, not harder. The chapter also delves into the importance of consistency, explaining that achieving great outcomes is often the result of small, consistent actions compounded over time, rather than sporadic bursts of effort. It emphasizes the power of daily habits, routines, and behaviors that support long-term success, suggesting that by committing to small positive actions every day, individuals can create significant changes in their lives over time. Another central concept in the chapter is the role of self-discipline in achieving desired outcomes. It discusses how many people have great ideas and aspirations but fail to take consistent action due to a lack of discipline or the temptation of instant gratification. The chapter emphasizes that success is not simply about having good intentions. It requires the ability to focus, persist, and avoid distractions that derail progress. It offers strategies for cultivating self-discipline, such as creating structured schedules, developing time management skills, and setting clear priorities that align with one's long-term objectives. The chapter also highlights the importance of cultivating a growth mindset, as discussed earlier in the book. It explains that individuals with a growth mindset believe that their abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning, which empowers them to take on challenges, embrace failures as opportunities for growth, and continuously improve themselves. By adopting a growth mindset, individuals can overcome obstacles, persist through setbacks, and ultimately achieve the success they deserve. Furthermore, the chapter explores the significance of overcoming fear and self-doubt in the pursuit of desired outcomes. Fear, often rooted in the fear of failure or judgment, can paralyze people and prevent them from taking necessary risks or stepping outside their comfort zones. The chapter encourages readers to reframe their mindset around fear, understanding that fear is a natural emotion but should not control or dictate their actions. It suggests practicing courage, embracing discomfort, and viewing failure as an inevitable part of the learning process, rather than something to avoid. Another vital concept covered is the importance of resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks, adapt to challenges, and keep moving forward despite difficulties. The chapter stresses that the road to achieving deserved outcomes is rarely smooth, and those who succeed are not those who avoid failure but those who persist through adversity. It offers practical strategies for developing resilience, such as practicing mindfulness to manage stress, seeking support from mentors or peers, and maintaining a positive attitude even during tough times. The chapter also emphasizes the need for personal accountability in achieving outcomes. It challenges readers to take full responsibility for their lives, recognizing that while external circumstances can influence outcomes, they are ultimately the ones who have the power to shape their futures through their decisions, actions, and mindset. Taking responsibility means owning both successes and failures, learning from mistakes, and consistently striving to improve. Another crucial aspect discussed is the idea of progress over perfection. The chapter argues that many people delay taking action or giving their best effort because they fear they are not ready or that they cannot do something perfectly. It explains that the pursuit of perfection often leads to procrastination and missed opportunities, while taking imperfect action and learning along the way leads to greater growth and eventual success. The chapter encourages readers to embrace the concept of progress, not perfection, and to focus on continuous improvement rather than waiting for the perfect moment or ideal conditions. Additionally, the chapter touches on the importance of embracing a sense of purpose and passion in the pursuit of outcomes. It explains that when individuals are genuinely passionate about their goals and connected to their deeper purpose, they are more likely to persist in the face of challenges, stay motivated, and enjoy the process. Passion fuels perseverance, and purpose provides the clarity and direction necessary for consistent action. The chapter also delves into the power of visualization and positive affirmation, suggesting that seeing and mentally experiencing the achievement of desired outcomes can reinforce belief in one's ability to succeed and program the mind for success. Visualization helps individuals stay focused on their goals and build the confidence necessary to take bold actions. It concludes by stressing that achieving the outcomes we deserve is a continuous process of growth, self-reflection, and consistent action. It encourages readers to adopt a mindset of abundance, believing that they are capable of achieving great things and worthy of success. By setting clear goals, taking intentional actions, cultivating self-discipline, overcoming fear, and staying resilient in the face of challenges, individuals can create the life they desire and achieve the outcomes they truly deserve. Conclusion. The conclusion of Master Your Mindset, How to Get What You Truly Deserve brings together the core themes and principles discussed throughout the book, encapsulating the idea that mastering one's mindset is the key to unlocking potential and achieving meaningful success in life. It begins by reinforcing the concept that everyone is capable of achieving their desired outcomes, but to do so, they must cultivate a mindset rooted in self-awareness, discipline, and intentionality. The conclusion stresses that the journey of mastering one's mindset is not a one-time event but a continuous process of growth, self-discovery, and alignment with one's core values and purpose. It reiterates that the foundation of all success lies in taking full responsibility for one's thoughts, actions, and decisions, and understanding that while external factors may influence our circumstances, our mindset determines how we respond to and navigate those circumstances. The chapter emphasizes that the thoughts we think, the beliefs we hold, and the actions we take are all interconnected, and by cultivating a positive, growth-oriented mindset, individuals can break free from limiting beliefs, overcome challenges, and move toward their goals with clarity and confidence. One of the key takeaways is that achieving success is not about waiting for the perfect moment or relying on external validation but about actively creating the life you want through consistent effort, smart decision-making, and persistence in the face of adversity. The conclusion challenges readers to take ownership of their lives and not blame their failures on external factors or circumstances beyond their control. It encourages them to adopt an empowered perspective where they understand that their mindset is the ultimate tool for transforming their reality. The chapter revisits the importance of discipline, self-control, and resilience in the pursuit of success, reinforcing that these qualities are the backbone of achieving lasting results. It also emphasizes that the road to success is not linear, and setbacks, failures, and challenges are inevitable. However, the book underscores the idea that each obstacle is an opportunity for growth and learning, and those who persist with a growth mindset will ultimately find success. Moreover, the conclusion reflects on the importance of aligning one's decisions, goals, and actions with their deeper purpose and values. It reminds readers that true fulfillment comes not from external achievements or fleeting rewards but from the alignment of one's life with what they are passionate about and what truly matters to them. It encourages individuals to reflect on their unique strengths, talents, and passions and use those as a compass to navigate their journey toward personal and professional success. The book also calls attention to the significance of surrounding oneself with like-minded, positive individuals who support one's vision and hold them accountable. The people we choose to spend our time with, the information we consume, and the environments we immerse ourselves in all contribute to shaping our mindset and our outcomes. The chapter concludes by reinforcing the idea that personal transformation is an ongoing process, and the key to sustaining success and happiness lies in continuous self-reflection, growth, and intentional action. It stresses that individuals should not expect perfection but should focus on progress, consistently taking small steps toward their larger vision, and learning from each experience along the way. It encourages readers to embrace uncertainty and discomfort, knowing that growth often comes from stepping outside one's comfort zone and embracing challenges. The chapter ends on an empowering note, reminding readers that they are capable of achieving whatever they set their minds to if they commit to taking consistent action, maintaining a positive mindset, and remaining dedicated to their personal and professional development. Ultimately, Master Your Mindset concludes by reiterating that everyone has the power to create the life they truly deserve, and that by mastering the mind, individuals can shape their reality, unlock their full potential, and achieve a life of purpose, success, and fulfillment. The book provides a roadmap for cultivating the mindset needed to turn dreams into reality and reminds readers that the most important step in the journey is the one they take toward transforming their mindset and committing to a path of growth and self-empowerment.